I use the website-garden replacement for PivotalTracker to manage my projects.
Hi, this is Neil Walters with website-garden.com. Over the last few years, I was an avid user of PivotalTracker, and in April this year, they just suddenly shut down and they said, we're not going to be available anymore. And I don't know what happened to the company. I mean, usually a company gets bought out before they close. So I was like, well, what am I going to do, right? I need that kind of functionality. So basically, I was working on Website Garden, and I decided to go ahead and bite the bullet and add basically most of the PivotalTracker functionality right into our current website. So over here on the menu, you have projects, which are pretty much what PivotalTracker called epics. And so what we call, instead of epics and stories, we call stories task. And we could rename that if it's needed. But basically, a project is a group of tasks, and a task is something you do, and it usually takes like 1 or 2 days, or 3 days max probably. And you assign tasks to different people, and I'm going to just demonstrate that for you. So I'm going to go here to current tasks. This is my menu, and it'll slide off here. I need more space to show you a better video. We also have, of course, a burn down chart, a velocity chart, and we have a change log that shows you every time anybody changed anything on a task. And so these are actually my live tasks right now. I have a guy in Poland working for me by the name of Orest here, and I can assign him things like chores and programming tasks, right? And so most of them are related to Website Garden, of course, and sometimes I have him working on other things as well. So when I add a new task, you can pick the project or the epic that you want to associate with it. Now, just to show you how it's similar to PivotalTracker, when I scroll down here, you see it it uses your velocity here, which is currently at 11 points per week. And so it basically separates your task into weeks. So basically, like here it says August 17th through August 23rd. And if I add a new task anywhere in here, it automatically resequences the whole stack basically. And so right now I've got projects, going all the way out to October this year. So we are adding new features basically, every day to this project. And a lot of them have to do right now with different types of tasks, which I'll try to explain in a minute, but I always want to keep my videos short and interesting, right? So let's add a new task right here. Okay, so the name of the task is Demo New Task for Video. And automatically it populates all these fields based on the last task that I added. So I've been working with, like I said, Orest, so he's the current assignee. And if I had other programmers here, I could pick from a drop-down list. Here's all the different projects I can choose from, and WG means Website Garden Paid Worker Task. That's the project we're working on right now. By default, it's unstarted. Icebox just means you're basically going to put it on hold for a while. These are the different types of stories or tasks. We have software features, software bugs, software chores, software release. And because our site has a lot to do with SEO, we have SEO research, SEO link building, SEO blog, SEO website, and then even training. And of course, we can add more task types as time goes on. Here's where you set your number of points. So right now, we're using just the scale of 1 to 3, where 1 is under 4 hours, 2 is 5 to 16 hours, and 3 is over 16 hours. I try to keep even the number of level 3 tasks to a minimum, and if something gets bigger than that, I just break it into multiple tasks. And we're just adding this feature right now. We're not fully baked on it. We're going to have the idea of an external task, but I'm going to save it and tell you that later. And I can say here, when I add it, I can add it at the end of the list, the top of the list, or 5, 10, 15, 20 tasks in the future. So I'm just go ahead and add this. Well, I'll put it at let's say 5 tasks. Let's just put it at the top. Why not? We'll add it at the top. And then here I can type in my description. This is my task for video demo, and just going to click save here. But if you want to add multiple tasks, you can just click this box, and you kind of be in a loop, right? You'll just keep adding new tasks over and over and over again without having to click add task each time. So we save that, and now it's recomputing the whole next few months, because that task is now going to show up at the top of the list after the tasks that have been started. So here it is, demo new task for video. So that actually got shoved into next week because the current week we're basically already over 11 velocity points, right? So that's why it stuck it here. And now what's cool is, of course, I can drag and drop it. Like say, well, I don't need it right away. I'm going to just slide it down a few more days here. Okay, so there it's, see, it's moving down as I go. So let's say we want to stick it right there now. And then the worker can hit start whenever he's ready to start a task. And then if you want to say, well, what if we actually had a different velocity? What if we've been picking up and we're going to start doing 14 points a week instead of 11? You just click this. So here I can type over it, or I can click the up down arrow. Say I want to go to 15 points per week. Click apply. And a minute ago you saw how the task went out through October this year. It'll recompute right now. Now I'm going to scroll down to the bottom. See, instead of October, we're now finishing up in September. Now some of these weeks are collapsed. You just basically hit that little arrow there, they expand and they collapse. We don't allow dragging and dropping right and left, only up and down. That's one thing we're a little different than PivotalTracker. I didn't use that feature a lot. Like in the old one, you could drag it to the ice box. We just have a checkbox where you just check it as being in the ice box. So this is an Agile or Scrum type methodology versus a waterfall, where it's very dynamic and your list is constantly changing because you never know what's going to happen. You might have a production bug this week and that's going to have to come to the top of the list, and basically that shoves everything else down, right? Okay, now I'm going to show you the edit capabilities of a task. What I'm working on right now I call external classes, or like freelancer tasks, where in the past you could invite a person to be one of your workers, and usually those are employees of your company or a full-time contractor where you pay them outside of our system. In what we're working on now is the ability to add external freelancers, where you basically assign them and you say, I want to give you so many hours to complete this task, and then you'll pay for it, and you'll pay for the freelancer on our site. And we're going to be looking, in addition to Orest, I want to be getting some other high quality programmers to be available and SEO guys to do the work for you. And in the future, we may open it up to be even something like a Fiverr or a freelancer, where we have hundreds or thousands of people available to do your tasks. But we plan to open it in kind of a small, safe way, right? And so this is one of the first tasks we're doing. I call it a paid worker task. And see, I broke it into part 1 through like part 10 or 11, so that each task would be 1 or 2 stars and not much bigger. So I'm going to click on this one. The approve button means he's basically finished it, and I just need to QA it, and then I'll approve it or accept it, basically. Now when you're in the task, you can change things here. Here's the task description. You can see how long it is. We haven't added the markup language yet, but I can pretty much live without that for now. We do have activities here where, like when we discuss things, I can say, well, we decided this on this date. So this shows that this is my user ID. Basically, I have multiple Neil Walters on here, so I have them identified as Neil Walters, the agency owner or the person who runs this this business. And this is the date I created this activity. And then there's the activity. I can also paste an image in here, either just paste the image, or I can click and add a file. I have to be in edit mode to do that right now. So if I go here to edit, see, I can delete this image with the X, or I can basically add another image by clicking this paper clip icon right there. So we have activities, and we don't have subtasks, but we also have blockers. So you see this one says blocks one other task. So you could come down here and copy the link, which is basically a direct link to this task with the task number on it. And then you can go to another task and click add blocker. I'm just going to make this one reference itself, which is not really a smart idea. I'm not going to actually save it. I would basically paste this in like that, and then that would be the blocker task for this task. Okay, we'll explain that more in future videos. But basically, when something's blocked, that means you can't start this task until the other one is done, or you're having issues with the task. Let me give you an example of that. Just click here to make it close. We were working on an interface to Cloudflare, and we were still trying to figure out the security of the API. So if I come in here and just say find Cloudflare, so we had to post to a forum. So you see here this forward gray arrow means that it's blocking another task called Cloudflare Domain Sync. So right now we sync with NameSilo, Namecheap, and GoDaddy, and we want to add other registrars to our list, and Cloudflare is the next one. So we're working on how to make the API work with the least minimal privileges, and that was our question we had. So if I go find the next Cloudflare task, it's called Domain Sync. You can see right here it says, it's got a couple blockers. This red block here says security permissions error. So you can also put text in there. It doesn't have to be another task. Let me show you that. Scroll down here. It's easier to do this on a bigger screen. I keep my screen kind of small for the better quality video here. And see, here's a blocker that's another task. And if you want to see what task is blocking it, you just click that link and it opens the blocking task in another screen. And then here's an example of just another type of blocker. This green one means that the prior task is done, where a red block means it's unresolved. And so we have a security permissions error right now, and until we figure that out, we're going to be holding on this task. And just for the last thing, I will show you an example of a couple of the graphs that you can do for this. If I go back over here in the menu to, say, burn down chart. Okay, there you can see the number of points we've been doing over time. And basically then this is your burn down rate, saying again that you would finish sometime in October. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you've been a PivotalTracker user and you miss it and you haven't found anything to replace it, come to us and let us help you. We are not totally free, I admit that, but you know, PivotalTracker went out of business. Maybe they had too many free users. I don't remember ever paying them a dime, and I used it for like 2 or 3 years. So who knows why they went out of business. I thought they were great, but we're going to have to charge a little bit to be able to keep this going. And not only do you get this task tracking ability, but as you watch other videos here on my YouTube channel, you'll see that we track your SEO statistics, we track your domain, whether your sites are up or down, that type of stuff. So it's all kind of integrated under one umbrella, and the task tracking is really just a part of what we have to offer at this time. So again, come join us and give it a try, and I hope to see you on the inside. This has been Neil Walters with website-garden.com.
I completed my dam. I recommend Website Garden's Agile project management system for all project managers and software developers.